Welcome everyone to another episode of the My Time podcast. This is the third episode here, and today I have a very special guest, one of my dogs, absolute dogs in this office, Calvin Chen. Man, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on a guest, man. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. So I really want to bring you on today because I really think you exemplify the taboo, thing of work-life balance in this business really well, right?
Okay.
From training to a triathlon to signing 2-3 listings a month the past 2 months. So yeah, I just want to learn more from you, man. But let's start off. Who is Calvin Chen? What did you do before real estate?
What did I do before real estate? Oh, okay. So, we can take it all the way back to high school. So
Let's do it.
Coming out of high school, I wanted to be part of the fire service.
Nice.
I was explorer for LA County Fire. It's like Boy Scouts for the fire department. You do like ride-alongs and stuff. Didn't feel a really big passion for that, and I think in that kind of industry, you really need a big heart.
Right.
And a love for helping people in that sort of aspect. So I kind of went 2 years in community college at Rio Hondo for fire science, and then I pivoted over to business. Because I didn't really know what to do. After that, I was kind of lost. I was like, hey, business, everyone does business, kind of vague. We can do something with it.
Right.
Transferred over to UC Riverside. I know you're...
Let's go.
Hey, Highlander,
there we go, Highlander,
yeah. Our side.
You're a couple years older than me, though.
I am. Yeah. I graduated in 19. How about yourself?
I got to school on 18. So we had probably one overlapping year. That was it.
Okay.
But it's a big campus, bro. The likelihood, I don't know.
It is. So we lived off campus, but
okay.
Did business management, graduated with my BS. And then after that, I was applying to different jobs.
Yeah.
Really didn't appeal to any of them. And I was like, hey, let's just try our hand in real estate. And kind of fell in love with it. Fell in love with, the time.
Yeah.
Having control of my own time. Kind of, but
right?
not really. I know you know how it goes.
We'll talk more about that.
Yeah. But, and just the sky's the limit. You can do what you want with the business. You can take it however you want to. You can find clients. You can work with people that you want to, and you can see beautiful homes, man. That's
the best part, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Wait, let me just ask you one more thing, bro. I think you mentioned you worked at as a server, right, at Baekjong?
I did.
Okay. Was that before or after your fire thing?
That was in tandem with it. So during college, with income, I worked a few Korean barbecues, cooking for customers and stuff like that too. So.
Oh, okay. They had one in Riverside, or was that back home?
No, it was back home during community college. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
When I worked at Rio Hondo.
Because for Korean barbecue in Riverside, the two that we always went, or the three really, was Wang Cho,
yeah.
Red Castle, and
Red
Jen,
Castle.
but that's more like Corona,
Yeah. Wang Cho for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Been there a few times.
They have the best tiers, bro. I do miss it. I think they have one in OC too, but I haven't been.
And the R91 as well, classic. Our actual Riverside office that we have is is upstairs.
Shout out R91 and Calaveras, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So you worked in the real estate industry. Right after that, you said you're trying your hand at it. Power wasn't your first office, right?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. So what was the decision from making that transition? Why'd you decide to come to Power, and how were you introduced to Power?
Yeah, I started at KW, Arcadia in my area. I live in the 626 office here in Orange County.
Yep.
So, stubborn. I was stubborn.
You were stubborn, bro?
Yeah, so we tried a lot of things, tried our hand at YouTube for prospecting.
Okay.
And I guess to give some context for real estate, right, most of our job is finding new clients.
Exactly.
That's a big portion of it. And then after that, it's converting them and really helping them through the process of buying and selling. But the big portion of it is even just finding the clients.
Exactly.
So if you don't have clients to work with, then you don't have anyone to walk through that process.
Yeah.
So really a big portion of that for me was cold calling, circle calling, literally circling on a map and calling people, door knocking as well. And I was a solo agent, so rather than a team here. So didn't get as much support and just tried a ton of different things that didn't stick over a span. I think it was 2.5 years.
Right.
And then I was just sick of it, man. Bank account running low. I know I needed to make a change.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies I used to start cold calling with was Jason Liu, who brought me.
Oh, shout out Jason Liu.
Yeah. Jason, my dog too.
So. Yeah, he's a dog too.
Yeah. And moving here, been really supported, given a lot of opportunities to grow, put yourself in the uncomfortable zone to grow.
Right.
And, just running with it and still growing now. So,
So would you say a lot of real estate, like you said, right, 80 to 90% of it is about finding new clients, and not necessarily, I don't think I was really taught that in like real estate school or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like even back from going to high school and college, it was always 1 + 1 = 2, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this is like kind of skills you don't really learn, but like you learn from experience almost. Would you agree?
I agree. You develop it over time.
Yeah.
Because even the real estate licensing test, it's just
The
terms.
transaction, right?
It's just terms,
that,
right?
I feel like you can like probably get it down like 6 months to a year, and you can like do like a $500,000 transaction, $5 million transaction, same paperwork, right? Essentially.
Yeah, same type of work, but different conversations.
Exactly.
And different connections.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
that's where the more important skills are, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, the prospecting and keeping clients. I mean, there's so much aspects to it, but yeah.
So I had this conversation with Jose on the very first episode too, right? Because a lot of the cold calling, door knocking, YouTube prospecting, all that stuff, it's like I said, skills that you don't learn in school, but it takes more of these like intangible skills, almost, right? Like confidence, perseverance, grit, all that kind of stuff. Now, do you think that is something that an individual can learn? Or is that like an it factor?
I think both. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. You definitely need some sort of grit already. It's hard to build, I think, from the ground up. But it can be developed, man. I mean, it's something you can learn. If you want it bad enough, you have a big enough why, I guess.
Exactly.
Then you'll do what it takes to get it done. Because people get put in situations where they have to perform.
Yeah.
They're like feet are held to the fire, so to speak, and then now they have grit, because they have to.
Yeah.
So
and it kind of goes back to that experience thing, right? Some people, they grow up, they have different life experience back then. So they develop grip, confidence, whatever, tough skin, right, throughout growing up. But I think a lot of people here too, like newer agents to come to power, it's really interesting, when you ask, hey, where, what industry, or like what did they do before, right? So I'll give you an example. Sia, car salesman, right?
Yeah.
He had tons of experience in that field, bro. So when he came over here, he killed it right away, right? Because of those kind of intangible skills that transfers really easily, right? Compared to someone like me, never done a sales job in my life, right? Worked at Poke Bowls, PacSun, the movie theater growing up. This is like my first big boy job in a sense, right? So I feel like it took me like a little longer, like I would say like a year or two to really got into like a flow and rhythm. So would you kind of agree with that?
I came from, as a solo agent before coming to power, I was a big cold caller already. And I think that's the main basis of what we do
there you
here
go.
as well.
Yeah, that's why you call so good.
It was developing that as well. But still a learning curve, different scripts, a different way to do things, and just trying to find my groove in it.
Yep.
I want to enjoy it. I don't want to
exactly
feel robotic and connect. I want to actually connect with people over the phones.
Well, I will say this too, right? Cold calling alone at your old office. I'm not gonna throw shade at anyone. Compared to coming over here, we're calling next to Jose, next to George, next to
it's good
Isaac,
to see people.
Right?
It's good to see people. A lot of energy,
doing the same stuff you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of accountability. Yeah, man, exactly.
Awesome. Well, on to my next question. Like I said, back to my very first introduction when I had you, I wanted to bring you on here to talk about that work-life balance, right? So I wanted to ask you, what does work-life balance mean to you? And how were you able to train for a triathlon, while doing real estate full-time?
Yeah, well, still training for it. It's actually my first.
So it's ongoing.
Yeah, I'm moving from... recently, this past year, I fell in love with endurance sports. Okay. Yeah. So just like longer runs, like aerobic based type of workouts.
Oh my gosh.
But work-life balance, it's something I still very struggle with.
I feel like all of us do, right?
It is, because it's so hard. It feels like time just passed you by. You have the things on your calendar, you hit them all, and then it's 7, 8 o'clock, and you still got to do your home stuff. Take care of your chores, cook your dinner, stuff like that. So yeah, it's still hard to struggle with, but I posted a picture for my recently on the gram, and one of the captions was, I think it was, "There's no such thing as balance. You make time for the things that are important to you and the people that you love." So I guess that's the thesis of it, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you categorize your things of what's important to you and you do those.
So
and then everything else, you know, if it becomes important enough to you, then you do it.
Yeah. So would you say you prioritize your schedule a lot then? Like if you make time for this, you will stick to it no matter what kind of thing, or?
Been trying to more.
Okay.
I tend to be more flexible because, you know, sometimes life throws you a curveball.
Sure.
And then if I need to adjust, then I adjust on the fly. But yeah, definitely works. One of my top priorities, family, and then fitness is up there too.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. Hey, tell me a little bit more about that, man. You know, your love for fitness. You're obviously a very fit guy. I know you run before work sometimes, swim, all that kind of stuff. I mean, how do you even find like the mental energy to go through all that?
I feel like if my fitness is in check, I'm hitting my marks for training, then my business follows. It's such a weird thing, weird correlation.
Explain that.
Yeah, because it feels like it would not at all, but I think in this business of real estate, it's so dependent on yourself and, you know, kind of your mindset. It sounds kind of like cringy and stereotypical, but it really is. I mean, it just correlates, man.
Yeah, I think for me,
it's a weird trend I saw, and then I love just being in good shape. It makes you feel good too, and the confidence,
right?
You know?
Yeah, and then for me, mostly with this, with my commitments at least, I want to be known as, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so I don't want to kind of cheat myself in that way, even though like nobody knows. But I think having if you're able to repeat that over and over time, you build discipline, you build confidence because you can do what you say you're gonna do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I hear you.
So with this podcast right now, right, I'm trying to crank one episode a week.
Yeah.
The production and the quality is gonna follow. I know that for a fact. But if I can get into a rhythm of cranking once a week, and then maybe on the 10th one, look back, do a self-audit, the next 10, here's what we can improve on, that kind of stuff,
I agree, man. Just starting
out. Break it down like that, but you gotta start.
Yeah. Same thing, I have a YouTube channel that I don't post anymore, but it was extremely awkward at first. But I knew I just gotta get out there and just record myself. I literally had a selfie stick and just recorded myself around the city. And over time, like you said, the quality gets better. By just getting the reps in.
Right on.
And better than nothing, right? Better
exactly.
Than being,
done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk said that.
Oh yeah.
There you go. So I kind of want to talk more about now the real estate side, right? Like the more tactics and skills behind it. Kind of like George, my last guest on this podcast, you picked up working with sellers really, really quickly, right? More, I would say you two kind of like led the way for guys like me and the other people in the office. What do you think are some of the best practices when you are transitioning from working with sellers now, when last year we were doing primarily buyers? Yeah,
well, thank you for that, Sunny. I appreciate it. I feel like it's still a very work in progress for me.
Right.
I don't even feel like I'm hitting my stride yet. That's a goal for this year is to grow that listing side. But I guess so what was your question again?
Just like best practices, like tactics, like like maybe follow-up strategy, or how you prepare for appointments, to get you like feeling confident, all that stuff going into appointments, and getting these deals signed.
I think it's really knowing the buy-side contracts so that you can explain it to sellers.
Yeah,
that's one thing. I really pride myself on knowledge because I remember coming into this industry at 23 years old. 23 years old and feeling like, there's a ton of big shots above me, 20 years of experience. One thing I don't want them to have over me is knowledge, because that's something I can control. I mean, I can learn everything, all the contracts, how all processes work, and I can explain it. So one objection that I'm never going to get is my knowledge on contracts and how to sell and everything like that. They can say experience, anything else, but knowledge isn't. So I really pride myself on that, and that's one of the practices I take into appointments, is showing like, hey, I know my stuff.
You know your stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I know my stuff. So
because you practice.
Yeah, because I practice. Second is really connection with a lot of the sellers that I connect with.
Right.
That I meet at least. It's I want to enjoy this job. I don't want to come out to appointments and be like, I gotta sell this person's house, and it's just an appointment because I have to sign the contract.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy working with them, and make a pleasant process throughout.
And you actually turn down clients too.
Yeah,
As
well-
like recently, right? You had a story. You guys weren't aligned on one aspect, and because you know your stuff, you know what the outcome is gonna be. So you advise them appropriately, right? But,
Exactly. We can really just lay our process out on there and let them know, hey, this is what I'm seeing in the market, and this is where I'm willing to take it, and this is the
Right.
result that I'm expecting to get your house, if not more.
Yeah.
But if we're not aligned, it's
It's gonna be a tough road.
it's gonna be a tough road, and I'd rather set the expectation in the front. And if we're not
There you
aligned,
go.
then it's no problem. We're not the right fit for everyone.
Right.
Yeah. So
I love that. Yeah. I think for me too, right now, my main focus is knowing our products really, really well. Because if you know the products really well and you can explain it, there's your confidence, right? So for me, like knowing the home light, the revives, the open doors, are in cash offers and investors like down to a
Showtime
T.
Plus,
Exactly,
all that
right?
stuff.
So it's like when you're connecting with people, like, hey, I need to, I need to buy this next house. But I need to sell this first. Well, what if I can help you buy, before you sell?
Yeah.
And home light, right? So
Exactly.
And then like knowing how to pitch it, knowing the fees and numbers behind it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's knowing how to guide. It's
Yeah.
exactly what you said. They present you the problem they have and these are your routes. That's our job, is to lay it out for them and then guide them through that process.
Exactly.
So I think you hit it right on the head, man.
There you go. So what would you say is a good, cadence or follow-up for sellers? I'm really interested in asking you this because for George,
A cadence or follow up. Okay.
yeah, because he said, on the first day he likes to call 5 times because one of the big
Calls
things.
5 times.
Yeah, one of the big things he sees is that people are not aggressive enough on trying to reach these sellers, which means you call once or twice, they don't answer, left there for like a month, 2 months later, come to find out they list with someone else, right? So what are like some of your best practices so that those kind of situations don't happen?
It's hard to say because those things will inevitably happen. But yes, you're right. Like, what can help you lessen the chance? I mean, I think it's just everything we've been doing. If we don't get a chance to even connect with them, then we of course shoot out that video of us walking through the listing process.
Yep. The loom, right?
The loom, exactly. Number 2 is, I mean, really, I've just been following up through phones. I don't really have a cadence.
Yeah.
If they don't respond, then it's a few times throughout the week, and then I have them on a weekly drip. And of course, we have the AI following up with them as well.
So you go more
What
by
we
feel, like what the person kind of give you off the phone, or what how you feel about when you meet with them in person, right? And that's how you'll follow up with them.
Exactly. And if they give me a timeline like 2 months, I usually cut
Yeah.
that in half. More as just getting back to them because things change.
Yeah.
With 2-3 weeks, so just want to make sure you don't want to drop the ball with them.
There you go. Well, my thing is I'm very tactical about it. I'm not sure
Yeah.
you heard me and Rip talking,
Okay.
but I like to connect the dots between buyers and sellers, right? So really knowing the neighborhood activity in their neighborhood, right? So every 2 weeks, maybe send them a new home that popped on the market. Hey, this might be a good comp for us. Do you want to go check it out and see how it compares?
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, showing some value off the bat. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more. I think the bread and butter for us now that we've done this, like our 2-3 years, most of us plus now, is that we are following up with value, right? Not just follow up, be like, are you ready to buy yet? Are you ready to sell yet?
Yeah.
Which you hear a lot, right?
Yeah.
When people are cold calling or doing stuff like that.
Exactly. You don't want to be the one, because I think how they interpret that is, are you ready? Are you ready for me to collect the check from you? Right? It's kind of with
Maybe
some value. Yeah.
Maybe putting yourself in the consumer's point of view, and them going through the process, and you can work backwards from there too, would help a lot too. I don't know. I just thought of that on the
Okay.
fly.
No, I never thought about that. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot.
Well, awesome, Calvin. Thank you so much for sharing with us your knowledge and your experiences and stuff like that. Last couple things I want to ask you, man. What trends are you seeing in the market nowadays?
What trends?
Price going up? Where will home price be? What do you think about interest rates?
Price going up. I think the general consensus is that rates going down and price going up. I can definitely see that, especially as we're coming into the heavy buying season of spring and summer.
Yep.
What I'm seeing right now, I guess, in trends is the newly upgraded properties that's priced well are flying off the shelves. Like
easily
20-30 offers still. I mean,
like Tiffany's last listing in Riverside.
yeah, really. How many did you get?
Dude, she had like over 100 people or something over the course of the weekend.
Okay.
And I'd say at least like 7-8 offers.
70 offers? Awesome. Yeah. I'm seeing that fly off the shelves. I'm seeing If a property is priced right, it's moving. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of sellers who are overestimating that and trying to capture every single thing and more.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are sitting on the market, you know, the overpriced
Right.
homes.
And it's our job, right, to communicate with them like, hey, this is for sure based on the comps. This is probably where you're gonna land at. But let me show you the strategy of you how to get there or exceed it, right?
Or exceed it, yeah. But what I'm meaning to say is that some sellers have the expectation of even more than that of what the market is presenting. And those are the ones that are sitting 30, 50, 60 days. And they're willing to let it expire because they're just testing the market. That's the number that they want to hit. And that's totally fair. I mean, if you want that number, it's your prerogative to kind of let it sit.
Right.
But we're seeing a lot of those on the market. And especially a hot area, such as like, let's say Arcadia, Rancho Cucamonga, some communities in Irvine, you'll see a home pop on the market and then fly off in 3-4 days, but then there'll be one home that's priced like maybe 50, 70, 80 above the market and be 100 days because of that reason. You know, that's the number they're looking for, and they're seeing if any buyers willing to pay that high above the market currently to get it closed. So that's the two trends I'm seeing right now. Hopefully we get some more inventory this year. I think it would ease the buyers a lot more. But how can you blame them? 2-3% rates. I mean,
why would they move, right? Yeah.
I would sit on my hands.
It doesn't financially make sense for them.
Yeah.
Right on. Same thing for you with you, man. I think home prices are gonna go up, especially if they are already forecasting for rates to come down, and then the dream for all too, California, which is this month. That's gonna bring in some more buyers in the market as well, right?
Yeah, the application opened yesterday actually.
Yep.
So,
yeah. That's gonna be interesting to see, spring, summer. So the next couple months are gonna be exciting, man.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So what's next for Calvin Chen? What are you working on this year?
What I'm working on this year, I am working on building the listing portfolio.
Nice.
As I think that's a natural progression of a lot of agents is to go from the buyer side to the listing side.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think buying agent, I probably feel more fulfilled closing a buyer, specifically a first-time buyer, because the feeling of handing over the keys, being part of that journey is just.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a feeling, seeing their eyes light up, especially when you can give them the closing present, opening doors to them. They finally purchased their first home. Especially first-time home buyers, that's like their I made it moment. I bought my first property. This is probably the biggest investment of their life and their home for the next few years. So it's just really rewarding on the buyer side. But I think the selling side, on the listing side, you can leverage a lot more time and you can build a bigger business with that. So just really trying to, sharpen my knives and get really good with that listing process. And that's the focus for this year.
Awesome. Yeah. Right on, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Calvin.
Of course, man.
I've been waiting for having you as a guest, man. So I'm excited to see how this one turns out. Shoot you up the clips after when they're done. But we should do this again.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Catch you guys next time.